You're listening to Beyond the Couch podcast with Dr. Sally Nazari, where we look at you beyond the couch and build ways to enrich your life, share your triumphs, achieve your goals, and most importantly, where we'll be celebrating you. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Couch. I'm Dr. Sally Nazari, a licensed clinical psychologist, and I'm very excited to continue talking about how we can get you some better sleep. We've already talked a bit about the way that sleep works and why it's important, along with some things that might get in the way of that. Today, we're going to pick up with that and expand by talking about some things you can start doing today to help you make sure that your sleep is restful and energizing so that you can really enjoy and celebrate the amazing life that you're building. Now, we mentioned in our last discussion that here and there, everyone has off nights when it comes to sleeping well, especially when we're dealing with stressful times. But if this pattern of not sleeping well or being sleepy and fatigued during the daytime extends beyond the stressful periods, we may be looking at some chronic insomnia. One of the first things we can do to address this issue is to start keeping track of our sleeping patterns with a sleep diary. A sleep diary lets us keep objective track of what's happening with the components that contribute to our sleeping pattern. It's often helpful to include the hours we slept, but also when we got into bed, whether and when we woke up throughout the night, as well as what we did in the few hours prior to bed. It's really important to fill out this sleep diary in the morning upon awakening. In fact, it can be helpful to include what we're feeling like when we wake up too. Often, a sleep diary will allow us to notice patterns, and for many people, we start to see that the sleep challenges are a bit more problematic than it might have felt like. We also begin to see a few themes that contribute to sleep issues on a routine basis. So, for example, the bed and the bedroom become a cue for arousal rather than bedtime and sleep. We tend to see this happen after there's been an ongoing struggle to fall asleep, and the bedtime cues become a source of worry or frustration. We can remember from our earlier discussion that this can disrupt the natural progression of sleepiness. One way we can intervene with this is to begin unlinking these cues to arousal so that we can again make bed and bedtime a cue for relaxation and sleep. For example, if you find yourself tossing and turning throughout the night, get up and either go into another room or sit somewhere different from your bed if you only have access to your bedroom, and begin doing something relaxing that's not stimulating. Changing your positioning and activity helps to reshuffle the association of sleeping with arousal or frustration or even worry. Another way we can intervene with this arousal and frustration is creating an unwinding ritual sometime before bedtime. This can allow us time to transition more easily into the slowing down and turn toward the sleepiness that can help us more easily fall and stay asleep. Activities that help us stay calm and quiet and that are low in arousal help to facilitate sleep. And a sleep diary can help us to figure out what kinds of things would be helpful to include in an unwinding ritual that can be helpful for you to both keep your evening productive and ensure that you can more easily get restful sleep. One other thing that's often helpful for people who find themselves getting anxious and worrying at the end of the night is to schedule a block of time during the next day to be protected for your worries. Now, this can be as brief or as long as you like, but the value in this is that your mind will know you've allotted something to be done about the things you're worried about, and it can now shift gears away from those alerting signals that help to keep us from falling and staying asleep. In the same vein, it can be helpful to create a to-do list or a list of priorities for your day tomorrow before beginning your unwinding routine. This way, your mind again knows that the upcoming day is, in a sense, handled, so it can more easily surrender to the slowing down that can facilitate falling asleep. Next, we want to make sure that we're finding effective ways to relax. Relaxation can also help reduce tension and anxiety experienced when trying to sleep. There is no single relaxation method that's best for everyone. Progressive muscle relaxation, meditations, mindfulness, and diaphragmatic breathing can all help calm an active mind. In the show notes, you'll see a link for bonus progressive muscle relaxation I've recorded. This way, you can try it and see how it affects you. And be sure to leave some comments on how it went for you in our social media communities, also in the show notes. I'd love to hear how you experienced it, and it'll give us a chance to cheer you on. One of the last things I will say about how we can help improve your quality and length of sleep is that sometimes some of the ways we do try and sleep better can be counterproductive and make the problem worse. Worrying about sleep or lying in bed and fighting with ourselves to fall asleep actually worsen the problem. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, this kind of frustration is arousing and pairs the process and rituals of going to bed with things that keep our biochemistry stimulated. If you're struggling to fall asleep, get up, go to another room or area of the room and do something relaxing until you start to feel sleepy. Sometimes we become so conditioned to this routine that our arousal can actually mask our sleepiness. And sometimes we have a hard time telling the difference between sleepiness and tiredness. Make sure that you're actually going to bed when you're sleepy or when you feel drowsy, and as though you might fall asleep on the couch, for instance. And also make sure that you shift gears when you begin struggling with falling asleep. In doing this, we begin to unlink the bedtime cues with arousal and wakefulness. At the same time, we want to make sure that we're allowing ourselves to relieve tension and not further stimulating our minds with other activities. So, if you get out of bed when you're struggling, be sure to switch gears with a relaxing activity. All right, we've gone through the ways that a sleep diary can be helpful for us in learning more about what gets in the way of our sleeping more soundly. We've also gone through some ways that we can intervene with some sleep solutions to get us sleeping more restfully and feeling better rested the next day. With some of these strategies in place, you're likely to feel more energized so that you can keep building the incredible, meaningful things you want in your life. Don't forget to look in the show notes for access to your free progressive muscle relaxation audio so that you can help jumpstart the relaxation process and sleep well. Now, we'll be getting started with our interview episodes in the next show, and I can't wait to share that with you guys. Until then, take care.
Thanks for listening to Beyond the Couch podcast, a space for celebrating you. The contents of this episode are for informational and supplemental purposes only and not a substitute for professional services. For more access to you beyond the couch, check out www.drsallynazari.com.